Have you ever noticed how some people try to make you feel small, like your presence is insignificant, your voice unheard, your worth invisible? They assume you'll tolerate it, that you'll keep explaining yourself, keep proving yourself. But what if I told you that the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop needing their approval, is the moment they realize they never had control over you? It's like a shadow. It looks big, it stretches far, but it only exists when there's light to cast it. Remove the light, and the shadow disappears. Or think of a venomous snake. Its strength isn't in its size, but in the fear it creates. But what happens when you stop fearing it? It loses its power. That's the truth about those who belittle you. They don't need you to fail. They just need you to believe you're not enough. But the moment you stand firm, the moment you refuse to shrink, they realize they were never as powerful as they thought. Because while they're busy trying to undermine you, you have a choice. Engage in their pettiness or rise above it. And when you choose yourself, that's when they feel the shift. That's when they realize they can no longer touch you. So how do you handle those who try to make you feel small, without arguing, without proving, without lowering yourself? Stay until the end, because the last one will change everything. Let's get started. Number 1, recognize their insecurity. Let's talk about a situation we've all faced. Someone trying to make you feel small. Maybe it's a sarcastic comment disguised as a joke. Maybe it's a dismissive attitude, a passive-aggressive remark, or a subtle way of undermining your confidence. At first, you might wonder, why would they say that? What did I do to deserve this? But here's the truth. People who belittle others often feel inadequate themselves. Their words and actions don't actually reflect you, they reflect them. See, when someone tries to put you down, it's rarely about you at all. It's about their own insecurity. Confident, self-assured people don't feel the need to make others feel small. Only those who struggle with their own worth feel the need to bring others down in order to lift themselves up. It's their way of masking their own feelings of weakness. Instead of working on their own shortcomings, they project their self-doubt onto you. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, the most powerful response to someone who belittles you is not to sink to their level. Don't engage in their negativity. Don't try to prove them wrong, and don't let their words define you. Instead, recognize their insecurity for what it is, a reflection of their own inner struggles, not a reflection of your worth. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him James, was constantly belittled by a colleague at work. No matter what James accomplished, this person would find a way to downplay it. If James got praised by the boss, his colleague would say, "Well, let's see if you can keep it up." If James shared an idea in a meeting, this colleague would respond with, "That's interesting, but I think we need something more serious." At first, James took it personally. He started questioning himself, wondering if maybe he wasn't good enough. But then he realized something. This person wasn't tearing him down because James was failing. They were tearing him down because James was succeeding. So how did James handle it? He stopped reacting. He didn't argue, didn't defend himself, didn't try to win against this person. Instead, he stayed focused on his work, on his growth, on his own path. And over time, something interesting happened. His colleagues' comments lost their power. Because the moment you stop giving insecure people the reaction they crave, they lose control over you. So what should you do when someone tries to make you feel small? First, recognize what's really happening. Their words are about their insecurity, not your value. Second, don't take the bait. Stay calm, stay unbothered, and don't let them pull you into their negativity. And finally, keep rising. The best response to those who try to bring you down is to keep moving forward, unaffected by their opinions. At the end of the day, someone else's insecurity is not your burden to carry. Let them struggle with their own doubts, while you focus on becoming stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than ever. Number 2. Stay unshaken by their words. Let's talk about one of the most powerful skills you can develop, the ability to stay unshaken by other people's words. We've all been there. Someone makes a rude comment, criticizes you unfairly, or tries to make you feel small, and in that moment, your first instinct is to react, defend yourself, argue, prove them wrong. But here's the truth. You are not defined by their opinion. Their words only have power if you allow them to. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or tries to tear you down, they're looking for something, a reaction. They want you to get upset, to feel insecure, to doubt yourself. Why? Because the moment you react, they win. The moment you take their words personally, you give them control over your emotions. But when you stay composed, when you refuse to let their words shake you, you take back that power. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, it's not what they say that affects you. It's how you interpret it. If you see their words as insignificant, they lose their ability to hurt you. If you see their criticism as meaningless, it becomes nothing more than background noise. Their opinion doesn't shape your reality, you do. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him David, worked with someone who constantly criticized him. No matter what David did, this person had something negative to say. At first, David felt frustrated. He found himself getting angry, replaying their words in his head, trying to figure out why they were treating him this way. But then he realized something. Why was he giving this person so much control over his peace? That's when he decided to change his approach. Instead of reacting, he stayed calm. When the person made a sarcastic remark, David just smiled and carried on. When they criticized him unfairly, he didn't argue. He let his work speak for itself. And over time, something interesting happened. The person lost interest. Because the truth is, when you stop giving people the reaction they crave, they lose their ability to affect you. So how do you handle situations like this? First, remind yourself that their words are just noise. They don't define you. Second, don't react emotionally. Stay composed, stay in control. And finally, focus on what actually matters. Your own path, your own growth, your own peace. At the end of the day, you are in charge of how much weight you give to someone else's words. Let them talk, let them try, but don't let them shake you. Your strength comes from within, and no one has the power to take that from you unless you let them. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 3. Respond with indifference. Let's talk about one of the most powerful ways to deal with someone who tries to belittle you: indifference. When someone mocks you, criticizes you unfairly, or tries to make you feel small, they are looking for something specific, a reaction. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or hurt. Why? Because it gives them a sense of power. But nothing disarms a belittler more than your lack of concern. When you respond with indifference, you take away the very thing they crave: control over your emotions. Here's the truth. Indifference is your greatest weapon. The moment you stop caring about their opinions, their insults lose all meaning. You don't have to argue, you don't have to prove anything, and you don't have to lower yourself to their level. Instead, you stay calm, unaffected, and completely uninterested in their attempts to bring you down. And that, more than anything, frustrates them. Because the one thing an insecure person can't stand is being ignored. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." In other words, when you've grown strong enough, you realize that you don't need to respond to everything. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every challenge needs to be met. Sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to stay silent, keep your peace, and let them waste their energy while you keep yours. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Alex, had a co-worker who constantly tried to undermine him. This person would make sarcastic comments in meetings, roll their eyes when Alex spoke, and try to poke holes in everything he did. At first, Alex was tempted to fight back, to prove himself, to defend his position. But then he tried a different approach. He simply stopped reacting. Whenever the coworker made a rude remark, Alex acted as if he hadn't even heard it. He kept his expression neutral, stayed focused on his work, and refused to engage in the game. And over time, something interesting happened. The coworker became frustrated. Without a reaction to feed off of, their attempts to belittle Alex lost all power. They eventually stopped altogether. So how do you handle people like this? First, remind yourself that their words are meaningless unless you give them weight. Their opinion does not define you. Second, resist the urge to argue or defend yourself. Silence is more powerful than words. And finally, walk away mentally. When you stop caring about what they say, you free yourself from their influence entirely. At the end of the day, you don't have to fight battles that aren't worth your time. Let them talk, let them try, let them waste their energy. Your indifference is your strength, and no one can take that away from you. Number 4. Let your actions speak. Let's talk about the most powerful response to those who try to make you feel small, proving them wrong without saying a word. When someone doubts you, belittles you, or tries to bring you down, the natural instinct is to argue, to defend yourself, to explain why they're wrong. But here's the truth. Words don't change minds. Actions do. Instead of wasting energy trying to convince them, let your success speak for itself. Here's the reality. When you succeed, their words become meaningless. People who belittle others do it because they want to plant doubt in your mind. They want to see you react, to second-guess yourself, to give up. But the moment you stop engaging in their negativity and focus on your own path, you take away their power. Every achievement, every step forward, every win you secure proves them wrong without you having to say a single thing. Success invalidates their words. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That means you don't need to argue about what you believe, what you're capable of, or what you're worth. You simply need to live it. Show your strength through your actions. Let your results be your response. Instead of debating with those who doubt you, keep moving forward, and let your success be the only statement you need to make. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Daniel, was constantly underestimated. People around him told him he wasn't capable, that he wasn't cut out for success. They laughed at his ambitions, dismissed his ideas, and tried to make him feel small. At first, he was tempted to fight back, to argue, to prove himself through words. But then, he made a decision. He would let his results do the talking. He ignored the doubters, worked in silence, and focused all his energy on improving himself. And over time, something amazing happened. His success silenced every critic. The same people who once doubted him started acting differently. They weren't mocking him anymore. They were suddenly curious, even envious. So how do you handle people who try to belittle you? First, stop explaining yourself. You don't owe anyone a justification for who you are or what you're capable of. Second, put all your energy into growth. Let them waste time talking while you use that time to improve. And finally, trust that success speaks louder than words. The best response isn't an argument, it's proving them wrong by rising higher than they ever expected. At the end of the day, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Just keep going, keep growing, and let your achievements say everything that needs to be said. Because the greatest revenge against those who doubt you is proving them wrong without saying a word. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with a thank God and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we continue learning together. Thank you for your support. Number 5. Set firm boundaries. Let's talk about one of the most important ways to protect yourself from people who try to make you feel small. Setting firm boundaries. When someone constantly undermines you, belittles you, or tries to diminish your confidence, you have two choices. You can tolerate it and let it drain you, or you can walk away and protect your peace. Here's the truth. Respecting yourself means refusing to stay where you are not valued. Some people thrive on making others feel insignificant because it makes them feel powerful. They will test your limits, ignore your discomfort, and see how much they can get away with. If you don't set boundaries, they will keep pushing because they assume you'll tolerate it. But when you draw the line, when you make it clear that you will not accept disrespect, you take back control. And this is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." If you're constantly seeking approval from people who don't respect you, you are giving them control over your self-worth. If you keep tolerating toxic behavior just to avoid conflict, you are sacrificing your own peace. But when you set firm boundaries, when you decide that your well-being matters more than their opinion, you reclaim your power. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Sarah, had a friend who constantly belittled her. Every time Sarah shared her goals or achievements, this friend would respond with something dismissive. "Oh, that's cute," or, I guess that's impressive for you." For a long time, Sarah tried to laugh it off, hoping that maybe she was overreacting. But deep down, she knew this wasn't friendship. This was someone who enjoyed making her feel small. One day, Sarah made a decision. She stopped engaging, stopped explaining herself, and most importantly, she distanced herself from the negativity. And just like that, the weight lifted. She no longer had to prove herself to someone who was never going to respect her in the first place. So, how do you set firm boundaries? First, recognize that you don't owe anyone access to your energy. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay. Second, stop explaining yourself to people who don't respect you. A firm boundary doesn't need justification. And finally, walk away when necessary. Distance is power. If someone refuses to respect your worth, removing them from your space is the strongest move you can make. At the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If someone constantly tries to make you feel small, respect yourself enough to walk away, because the more you protect your peace, the more power you hold over your own life. Number 6. Turn their negativity into fuel. Let's talk about one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make: using negativity as motivation. When someone belittles you, doubts you, or tries to make you feel small, you have two options: let it discourage you, or let it drive you. Weak people allow negativity to weigh them down. But the strong, they take every insult, every criticism, and every ounce of doubt, and use it as fuel to push forward. Here's the truth. The best way to silence doubters isn't by arguing, it's by succeeding. People who try to bring you down are often projecting their own insecurities. They want to see you give up because they've already given up on themselves. They want to see you fail because it makes them feel better about their own lack of effort. But when you take their negativity and turn it into motivation, you do something they never expected. You rise above them. Instead of crumbling under their words, you let them push you to work harder, get stronger, and accomplish even more than they ever thought possible. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Every challenge, every obstacle, every negative remark is an opportunity to grow. Just like lifting weights makes your body stronger, dealing with adversity makes your mind unbreakable. The people who doubt you, they're unknowingly making you better. Every time they say you can't, you prove that you can. Every time they try to break your spirit, you use it to sharpen your focus. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Jake, always had people doubting him. When he told his family he wanted to start his own business, they laughed. "You? Running a business? Good luck with that." When he told his friends about his goals, they dismissed him. Just be realistic. But instead of letting their words discourage him, Jake did something different. He let them fuel him. Every doubt, every insult, every piece of negativity became a reason to push harder. And as he built his success, he realized something. The same people who once doubted him were now asking for advice. So how do you turn negativity into fuel? First, stop taking it personally. Their doubts reflect them, not you. Second, reframe every insult as motivation. Instead of feeling discouraged, think, "Thank you for the extra energy. I'll use it to prove you wrong." And finally, focus on results, not revenge. Don't waste time trying to convince people to believe in you. Let your accomplishments do the talking. At the end of the day, negativity only has the power you give it. When someone tries to bring you down, don't sink to their level. Use their words to climb even higher. Let their doubt be the fire that drives you, and watch how unstoppable you become. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 7. Surround yourself with those who uplift you. Let's talk about one of the most important choices you'll ever make: who you allow in your circle. The people around you either build you up or tear you down. They either push you toward growth or hold you back with negativity. And here's the simple truth. The right people will recognize your value without needing to put you down. If someone constantly belittles you, makes you doubt yourself, or drains your energy, it's not your job to convince them of your worth. It's your job to walk away and find better company. Here's the reality. Your environment shapes you. If you surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you, who push you to be better, you naturally grow. But if you stay around those who undermine you, who feed you doubt, who make you feel small. That negativity seeps in, whether you realize it or not, and over time, it affects your mindset, your confidence, and even your ability to achieve your goals. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." In other words, choose your circle wisely. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, who celebrate your wins without jealousy, and who encourage you to keep going when things get tough. The people in your life should not make you question your worth. They should remind you of it. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Emily, used to be surrounded by the wrong people. Every time she talked about her dreams, her friends would respond with skepticism. "Are you sure you can handle that? That sounds risky. Maybe just play it safe." It wasn't direct insults, but it was enough to plant doubt in her mind. And for years she hesitated, afraid to go after what she really wanted. Then she made a decision. She changed her circle. She started spending time with people who believed in her, who challenged her to aim higher, who supported her ambitions instead of questioning them. And the difference? Life-changing. She started taking action, making moves, and stepping into her potential with confidence. So how do you surround yourself with the right people? First, pay attention to how people make you feel. Do they lift you up or bring you down? Second, let go of toxic relationships. If someone constantly makes you feel small, they don't deserve access to you. And finally, seek out those who inspire you. Find people who challenge you, who encourage you, and who genuinely want to see you win. At the end of the day, you are a reflection of the people you keep around you. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, and watch how much further you go. Because the right circle doesn't just make you feel supported, it makes you unstoppable. Number 8. Remember your own worth. Let's talk about one of the most powerful truths you need to internalize. No one can make you feel small unless you allow them to. The way people treat you is a reflection of them, but how you respond is a reflection of you. If someone tries to belittle you, dismiss your value, or make you doubt yourself, the only way they succeed is if you let their words take root in your mind. Stand firm in your self-respect, and no one will have the power to shake you. Here's the reality. People can say whatever they want, but their words only carry weight if you give them permission. If someone calls you unworthy, does that make it true? No. If someone tells you that you're not capable, does that suddenly erase all your skills and potential? Absolutely not. Their words have no real power unless you choose to believe them, and that's where self-respect comes in. When you know your worth, outside opinions become nothing more than noise. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." In other words, your value is determined by what you strive for, not by what others say about you. If you are working towards something meaningful, if you are committed to becoming the best version of yourself, then nothing anyone says can take that away from you. Your worth is not up for debate. It is something you decide for yourself. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Ryan, once worked in an environment where he was constantly underestimated. No matter how hard he worked, there was always someone ready to criticize him, to downplay his efforts, to make him feel like he wasn't good enough. At first, Ryan let it get to him. He started questioning himself, wondering if maybe they were right. But then he had a realization. Why was he giving these people so much power over his confidence? Why was he letting their opinions dictate how he saw himself? That's when everything changed. Ryan stopped seeking validation, stopped worrying about proving himself to people who didn't deserve his energy. Instead, he focused on his goals, on his growth, and on becoming better every day. And guess what? The moment he stopped needing their approval was the moment he became unstoppable. So, how do you remember your own worth? First, remind yourself that outside opinions don't define you. You are not what others say. You are what you believe about yourself. Second, build your self-respect through action. Confidence comes from showing up for yourself, from pushing forward despite doubt. And finally, refuse to shrink yourself for anyone. If someone tries to make you feel small, it's because they see something in you that intimidates them. Stand tall anyway. At the end of the day, your worth is yours to decide. No one can take it from you. So stop seeking validation, stop letting their words affect you, and start carrying yourself with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what they bring to the table. Because when you truly understand your worth, no one, not a critic, not a doubter, not a single voice of negativity, can ever make you feel small again. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with a thank God and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we continue learning together. Thank you for your support.